It's a gargoyle that my parents got me. Basically, he got it many years ago, and you know what it is? It's a it's a troll of some sort sitting in what looks like a beach chair, and he's got a beer. So I thought that was kind of cool. Looked like a good idea for a cover photo, right? Sorry, I saw Janine's comment before I started the live stream. Good morning, Janine. Good morning, Yvonne. Hi, Bob. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Bite. Yep, Bite's with us here today. Good morning, Scott. Good morning, Darth. Good morning, Nancy. Here we go again. Wow. You just human sprinklered me again. He like sprays slobber all over the place when he does that. At least he didn't get it on the camera, right? That'd be gross. Cat drool coming between us. Yeah, that turned out really well. Here it is right here. Here's the final product. I thought it turned out really great. That's going to be a great addition to the train village. So we'll leave that back there as a conversation starter. Yeah, I decided to put that up this week. I want to get that thing out of the way though, right? Yeah, there we go. That's better. Yeah, I know, right? Feline sprinkler system here. Yeah, the water tower turned out great. Like I said in the video, that was one of those things that I think it was one of the first village elements I saw that I put on there. I said, "Oh yeah, that looked really cool." How's my mom? My mom's having a lot of problems right now. Um, After she got done with her surgery, she was kind of on the mend for a few days. I mean, you recall she called into the live stream a week or two ago, and the um, a couple of days later, she started having problems breathing. They weren't sure if it was pneumonia or COVID or something like that, but she was having problems with diminished ability to process oxygen, and so she's been on oxygen. She's been in the emergency room for the last week or week and a half or so, and just is really having a tough time right now. I guess my sister said she was doing a little better last night and was processing oxygen a little bit better, but they were talking about moving her back into just a regular room instead of being in the ER anymore. But uh, it's been a rough week, and she's having a hard time dealing with it. So yeah, please keep her in your prayers. The stringy bit, are you talking about on the water tower? You talking about this thing here? No, that's just a solid plastic thing. But I guess what you do is you pull the train up to it, you pull on the chain, and the whole thing flips down, and then that's when the water starts coming. But not in this one, because this one's made out of plastic. It's all it's aesthetic, not functional. Yeah, my sister was a little critical when I said that I was coming to visit her a few weeks ago. When I first told her that, she thought, well, she's just going to be in the rehab, and it's just going to be sitting there, watching her in bed for a long time. It's like, but now my sister thinks it's maybe a good time so we can talk about what's going on here. I could live with that, Yvonne. Of course, I do have a bunch of those little miniature people, so maybe we can find a couple cuties in there. A Buster Keaton type figure, huh? I don't know if there was a Buster Keaton figure in any of the little miniatures on the cow catcher. Yeah, maybe. It begins. Yeah, I agree, Tracy. That was a great one. I knew something was coming because I knew I had like 12 items on the list. And I looked one day and there were 11. And I said, okay, something's coming. What is it there? I didn't actually, you know, take a catalog of everything that was on the list. So I'd look at there and try and figure out what was missing. And about a day before it came, I said, oh, it's the water tower. The water tower is coming. So, and I didn't know who it was that sent it literally until I opened it on the live stream last week. And Darth mentioned that he'd sent something and said, "Oh, okay, well, because I left it, back behind me, so that when it did arrive, so I could open it and unbox it during the live stream." And so when Darth mentioned that he sent something, I said, "Oh, okay, well, that must be this then." I just have the one steam engine at this point. You got snow, huh? Yeah, they're saying we may get a little snow this year too. I don't know how they can predict that though. It is cool. Well, radar will predict snow, maybe a few hours in advance, but at least from my limited experience here, we don't usually get snow until like January or February. So I don't know how they predict snow 2, 3 months in advance. I don't know. We'll have to see. It's cold here right now, but it's sunny out. I think we're supposed to be in the low 50s today, and then get down to like the upper 30s or mid 30s tonight. Oh yeah, I've gotten snow, a little bit of snow here every year that I've been here. It isn't something that happens for long. The first year I was here, when I was still in the apartment, I remember going out one night and it was snowing just a little bit, and basically it was gone by noon the next day. Um, and then we got significant snow like 2 years ago here, and it was basically snowy. We probably got about 4 inches of snow, and it was probably it took about 4 or 5 days for it to completely disappear. So I don't know. We'll see what we get this year. Like they're saying, there it's possibly going to be a very cold winter. So we'll see. I hope so. Yeah, right. Global warming. could use a little of that global warming right now. I did make some lasagna last week. It's very good. I made two pans of it, so I got one in the fridge for me to eat now, and the other one is in the freezer, and I'll pull that out in a month or two. That sounds like a waste of money. You know, the single biggest thing that tells me that global warming is a fraud is all the people that are predicting uh, that global warming is going to raise the sea levels. They're all buying beachfront property. It's like, what, really? Yes, yeah, I have a reservation. I'm going to be leaving a week from tomorrow, so I'll like do the live stream next week. Probably pack up and then leave first thing Monday morning, and I'll be there. I'll come back on the following Saturday. So I took 3 days off of work. Uh, chose my short week, so I only have to take 3 days off. Only have to use 3 days for the vacation time, and then I'll get like 10 days of time off. So that works really well. I am flying this time, yes. Yeah, we had technology problems last time. I'm not sure exactly what happened. I hope it doesn't repeat again this time. But you know, we all of a sudden I just noticed that nobody was talking anymore, and I started looking. There's a little thing on the screen right here for me that says how many people are on the live stream right now, and it also gives me an idea of how many thumbs up people have given me. And I noticed that the number was began dropping, and it went from like 30 to 25 to 20, and it was down to 10. It's like nobody was talking. I figured, oh, it must have frozen, and I stopped the live stream, tried to start it again, and it just didn't work. Yeah, that wasn't a pathetic attempt to get you to click the like button, but I don't mind if people do that. I appreciate it. No, I don't believe that you deserted me, but you're not going to hang around and watch a live stream where it's just me going. Nobody wants to see that. Even I wouldn't watch that. Yeah, mobile homes. I don't know. I feel very glad about the fact that I live in a house surrounded by brick. Hey, Eric, what package are you waiting on? Yeah, Bite's still here. I use Travelocity, but I don't know. I'm not really a huge fan of them. They they I mean they come up with good deals, but once you're into them once, you know they got you on their sucker list and they're sending you spam email all the time. I'm glad I got like a burner account, because when they get too much, I'll just eventually just drop the account and start another one. I give the businesses I do business with the burner account address, and so if it's too much and I can't get them to stop, um, then I'll just delete the account. Oh yeah, got the Israeli flag up there. Got to show my support. I am winterizing the pool, but not quite the way you might be thinking. Um, I've been having problems with that pool vacuum again. And as you know, I talked a while back about having to replace the wall along the outside. But now that I'm having the issue with the vacuum again, I'm actually kind of considering that maybe it's time to get rid of the pool. Uh, so no matter what, if I'm going to get rid of the pool or if I'm going to have the wall replaced, I have to drain the water. And so I began draining the water about 3 days ago, and that's going to be my version of winterizing the pool this year. That way, either way, like I said, I got to drain the water if we're going to replace the wall or decommission the thing. So, that way I don't have to go buy a pool cover or anything like that. And in fact, if I need to clean the thing out, I can literally just get in there with a broom. So that's my version of winterizing the pool this year. Getting a game console, a phone charger, and screen protectors. Okay, that's part of the reason I'm not in California, John. Yeah, I know, but yeah, I understand, but I still like to put this guy in here and pet him every once in a while. And besides, if I freeze, you're not going to see me petting him. You're just going to see that. All too well, Yvonne. All too well. Yes, it is. It's cold out today. See, I stopped petting him, and now he's down here craving more attention here. Are you beautiful, or are you just my buddy? I think you're just my buddy. Yes, you are. The picture is a gargoyle that my parents got me many years ago. And I was just kind of looking around for something to do on the live stream. And this is a gargoyle that's basically sitting in a garden chair drinking a beer. So he's been part of my collection for many years. And I thought, okay, he'd be a good live stream cover photo. It's always, you may remember at the beginning when I did live streams, years ago, it would just be a picture of me sitting in front of my Texas flag when I was in the apartment. But a number of years ago, a couple of years ago, they allowed you to start uploading photos for the live stream. And so from that point on, I always like an hour or so before the live stream goes, I try and go find a picture and figure out what's going to be the live stream cover photo. Well, sometimes it's stuff in the yard, but we're beyond kind of the yard stuff now. And so, it's just something finding something around the house, and sometimes it's just a picture in the house. Sometimes it's a new rock that I got or something like that. And this morning it's my gargoyle. It's like a cat chilling it. Yeah, it does look a little like a cat, but cats don't usually have horns. So I could see how somebody might see it as a cat, though, especially head on like that. No, I actually kind of started out part time at Disney because, it was never really going to be a full time job because the parade that I worked on, they only ran one parade a day. So that didn't justify, an 8 hour shift. And at the beginning, they were always hiring more people than they needed because you got to have a full staff every day in order to run the parade because you can't just cancel a float because somebody's sick. So they always had to have extra people, and the people that got the hours were the ones that had the seniority. And fortunately, there were always a lot of people that wanted to take days off or just trade for some reason. And the company made it easy to trade with somebody. If you could trade, if you were scheduled for a position and could find somebody else to take that position, they made it very easy to switch like that. And so in the early days, I let people know, hey, you want to take the day off? I'll trade with you. And a lot of times, people would just trade for a shift because they didn't like the job they were going to be doing that day. And usually, the job they were doing that day was the basic entry level stuff. Because see, there were three levels of a worker in the parade. There was the basic crew, which did the really menial jobs, like there's a position called ladders, which was the person that was, the people that were responsible for getting the characters off the floats, because we had like rolling staircases like they sometimes use on airplanes. We usually had rolling staircases to get people down off the floats, and that was the least like job. And then there were several others that were considered the basic crew position. And then once you got to the point you got all the crew positions, then you move to the next level, and that was the float drivers. And I did that for a while. And then after you were proficient in all the floats, then you moved on to the tow positions. And the positions were the people that guided the floats around, kind of like you see at the airport when you see somebody guiding the plane into up to the gate. It was sort of like that, but with the floats. And I worked my way up to the point where it was a full time job. And it was a full time job for the most part until the end. But I just didn't like the way the company treated me. And I knew I could do better. And you know what? I just said, nuts to you guys. I'm tired of this. Uh, I can do better. I deserve to do better. I deserve an opportunity. And if you're not going to give it to me, I'll find somebody who will. And I did. Well, I wasn't, like I said, after about, it didn't take long. Naturally on my own, I was getting maybe scheduled one day a week. And I started trading shifts almost immediately. And within a couple of months, I was, working just about every day. And one other thing I could do is I could call in available on a day I was off. So if somebody was sick, they'd call me and and I could be called in on a given day. And so I got to the point where, I'd stay up until midnight and call in at 12:01, leave a voicemail message. So I'd be the first one on the message calling in available. That way, if something happened and there was an opportunity, I'd be the first person they called. And I also started training for different shows. I worked Phantasmic. Worked some of the overnight crews. There were some other shows. one based on the movie High School Musical that I worked on a little bit, one based on the cartoon Phineas and Ferb that I worked on for a long time. And, basically all of that got me the opportunity where I was getting the hours I needed and sometimes even more. Yeah, I've seen the bearded men in dresses at Disneyland. That was happening a little bit when I was still there, and Disney just tolerated it. If you were a guy that suddenly came out as a woman, they'd let you change your name tag, and it just it was going downhill at that point. What's on my shirt? This is my Reanimator shirt. It's one of my favorite horror movies ever. It's kind of a horror comedy movie. Oh, it was way harder to drive than driving a bus. For one thing, I'm convinced the people that designed the floats never actually got in the floats and try and drive them because the visibility was horrible. They weren't very comfortable either to get in or to be in, but it was a lot of fun to do it. And some of them were a challenge to drive. Yeah, Walt never would have tolerated some of the stuff that's happening at Disney. Animal House always comes to mind. That's a great movie. I was looking at the weather too, Eric. They were saying that possibility of like getting down to 34, uh, like tonight or tomorrow night or something like that. So no, no, you got to the point where you went to the bathroom before you got in the float, and um, we weren't in the float long enough. I think you were in there for half hour or 45 minutes at the most. Yeah, I had a few emergency stop movements moments in the float. I was driving a float. The main parade I was in was called the Pixar Play Parade, and it was, of course, based on the movie, all the Pixar movies. And I was driving a float for the movie Finding Nemo, and I remember one thing I could kind of see out of the side of my float because there's little holes in different parts of the float that the driver can see through. And I remember three things happened really quickly. Uh, I saw like something move out of the corner of my eye on the side of the float. I heard somebody say something on the radio, and then all around the floats, there's little red mushroom-shaped buttons that are called drive stops. And you hit one of those, the float jumps to a stop. And like I said, a kid, I think, ran towards the float. One of the leads or somebody out there pushed one of the drive stops and said something on the radio. And like I said, the float came to a screeching halt. Well, there was a little bug on this float, and I don't know if they ever fixed it, but sometimes when you hit the drive stop on the float wouldn't start again. And that happened in this case. And I called and says, "Hey, I can't get the float to reset." And they got the toes out. And the toes were getting ready to hook up the tow bar, and And the lead came in, was trying to walk me through resetting the float, and was like, she didn't know what she was doing, and she was rushing her way through it. And I knew I had some experience with this. A lot of times, you just had to take your time going through the reset procedure, but she was going it too fast, so she gave up on it and decided, okay, we're just going to have the float towed. And so that's a complicated process because you got to get the tow vehicle out. They got to hook the tow bar up to the float. The mechanics have to unlock the wheels so the wheels will roll freely. And while they were doing that, I went through a very slow, very methodical reset procedure. It took about 2 minutes to get through it. But when I, got the process completed, it reset on its own. So I ended up getting on the radio and saying, yeah, I've managed to clear the error. I'm ready to roll under my own power. And it's funny. It's the only time in my entire life as a float driver I got applause from the audience because when the float started rolling on its own, everybody let out a cheer. So that was kind of cool. There was another time I was driving a float and I saw a kid run out in front of the float, and I stopped the float on my own. But a lot of times, you never know. There's so many places on those floats you can't see. What am I? A zit? It's a great one. So many great Belushi lines on that movie. What am I now? I'm a zit. Get it? Still in bed laying with your cats, huh? Yeah, my cat has abandoned me. Yeah, I'm guessing she's working today. Yeah, the floats are all electric. Less than half an inch of snow. Well, you've only just begun. And bite is back. Let's see if I can find pictures of some of these floats. Actually, I think I have pictures of a lot of them on my Facebook profile. Let's see if I can find them quickly here. Okay. Well, I mean, there's sort of a picture of the Finding Nemo float, but you can't see most of it. Let's see. Yeah, I don't really have a good picture of that one. It's not in that parade. Let's see. I think I got two parade albums here. Let's see if I can find the other one. Maybe that's got a better. Here we go. Here's another one. Maybe I can find one here. Yeah, that's a little better picture of the Finding Nemo float. The driver kind of sits down in here. In fact, you can see there's kind of a screen right there. That's my vision to the world. Is that little about 1 foot hole right there on the coral. Yeah, well, I think when you're doing a parade for like the Macy's parade, it only you only do it once. It's probably cheaper to just to put it on a trailer and tow it with a truck. But when you're doing a parade that is done every day, you build the whole thing. Yeah, Chris Farley was another great talent. Yeah, yeah, well, yeah. It wasn't a float. It was a Maleficent dragon on the Phantasmic show. That was amazing. I remember I used to work the Phantasmic show. I know a lot of people that were there that night. They were sort of traumatized by it because the dragon, is that's the star of the show. That thing rises out of at the end. The show. The premise of the Phantasmic show is it's a battle between Mickey's imagination and the imagination of Maleficent. And at the end of the show, Maleficent transforms into a fire breathing dragon that rises out of the stage and breathes fire and lights the river on fire and stuff like that. Well, this one night, the dragon itself caught on fire. Sometimes in the early days, it was hot. We had fans in there, but later on, they actually put kind of a crude air conditioning system in there. So it wasn't too bad. You saw the Pixar parade or Phantasmic? Because Phantasmic actually isn't a parade, it's a stage show. Yeah, John Candy too. That's another one. Hello, Wendy. You're not too late. We're not even halfway through yet. 4 days to your birthday. Happy birthday, Eric. I think they just ended up having to let it burn out. I mean, it's not like, they had a fireboat or something they could pull up there. Actually, they do have a fireboat out there, but I don't know how quickly, they could do anything about it. They just kind of evacuated the area, probably turned the gas off. There's Jeff. Oh, since you created a channel, I can't wear my graphic t-shirts anymore. Oh man, what a bummer. Lots of blind spots. Yeah. But I had fun on Phantasmic. Phantasmic was a fun show. It was a difficult show because it was late at night. But let's see here. See if I can find it here. There. That was something I used to drive in Phantasmic. If you ever saw the movie Little Mermaid, the witch in there, Ursula, had a couple minions named Flotsam and Jetsam. They were kind of evil looking eels. And those eels appeared on on the during the point where Maleficent is taking over the show on Phantasmic, and I used to drive those. Yeah, it's on the river around Tom Sawyer Island. Mark Twain is the name of the steamboat. The island is Tom Sawyer's Island. No, the pay was pretty lousy. I think I started out making like 12 bucks an hour or something like that. And after 10 years, I worked up to a little bit more than $16 an hour. And then at that point, that was when the whole $15 an hour movement was happening for you know entry level jobs and minimum wage and all that. And so Disney decided to be really woke, and they took all the wages below $15 an hour and moved it up to $15 an hour. And all of a sudden, my 10 years of experience was worth almost nothing. That was another one of the things that kind of led me to dump that place. How's my mom? My mom is having problems. She's she was back in the emergency room for about a week and a half. I think they got her out now, either last night or this morning, but she's been having problems breathing ever since the surgery. They came out thinking that maybe she had COVID or just a case of pneumonia, and she was having problems. She was on oxygen and all that. But I guess last night or yesterday, her oxygen levels were kind of returning to normal, and so they're going to put her back in a normal room. But she's been having a rough couple of weeks, so definitely keep her in your thoughts and prayers. I know she appreciates it, and we're just hoping for the best at this point. I'm going home in about a week. I'm actually going to fly home on a week from tomorrow, and I'm going to be there for the whole week. So hopefully that'll help things out a little bit. Goodbye, Tracy. Thanks for stopping in. Always good talking to you. Good luck, Wendy. Thank you, Gene. I'll make sure my mom knows that. Hey, Susan. Long time no see. You're crossing your legs. I'll take it a step further. I'm going to cross my eyes. I don't know. Last time I was in California, I felt a sense of dread when I walked in. Um, when I drove into the state, and I didn't feel good again until I left the state. It's just so. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing my mom. Looking forward to seeing my sister and her family. But I'm not looking forward to being in California again. Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate that. Yes, you are more generous than Disney ever was. Appreciate that a lot. Yeah, my I didn't have turkey for Turkey Day. I had lasagna, so I celebrated Lasagna Day. Basically, I just kind of took the days off. The day of and the day before, I actually put my Christmas lights up on the house, and so they went live the day after Thanksgiving. I appreciate every little bit, Jeff. And that was far from a little bit. Yeah, Thanksgiving is a lot easier to do when you don't have to, um, when you don't have to deal with, family and in-laws and all that stuff coming in. I took just took a very quiet day off. Kind of just did what I wanted to do. You got to do that every once in a while, right? Train Village, hopefully, is going to go up soon. Outside Christmas stuff goes up first, and then I kind of deal with inside after that. And the truth is, there's not really a whole lot of tradition in terms of what I do inside because last year was the first year I've really done anything at all inside. And that was the train and the Christmas tree, and I've always gone overboard outside, and I've got more lights outside this year than I've had before, and I like to add to that every year. So chili and cornbread, that actually sounds pretty good. Yeah, that's when I started doing it too, Gene, is after Thanksgiving. There were people around my neighborhood that had their stuff up before Halloween. And that's just too early. I'm sorry. That's crazy. And even now I'm still the first person with Christmas decorations up in my immediate area. I noticed last night when I drove home from when I came home from work that the neighbors next door had like little lit up candy canes along their walkway. But this part of the neighborhood kind of does eventually catch up. It may take them a week or two to put their stuff up, but there will be lights up here before too long. Oh, can't complain about a steak, but can't complain about a steak. That sounds really good, Jeff. Yeah, maybe we'll do a video of me putting the village together. Like I said, I've got so many new elements this year to put up because I've got all the stuff that's come from the Amazon wish list. We got this from Darth Saber just the past week. I put that together, and that looks really cool. So I like that. It also has this little shanty shack that goes with it, and so that's going to be part of that. And of course, I got the buildings I got, and the house, and the Dairy Queen, and all the little people. And so we're gonna have to do something cool with that at some point. I'm gonna have to figure out what I'm gonna do to make the little people stand up because I think they're really sort of designed to be um, like glued into place. But since the board that I do, that I put stuff on, is disassembled, it isn't a permanent display. I don't really want to glue them into place because they'll break and stuff like that. So I want to be able to move them around. I've been sort of thinking about using my hot glue gun and put a little dab of hot glue maybe on some aluminum foil, and then stick the people in there so that it creates like a little platform that they can stand on. And I might do that. Houses with kids go up first, huh? Yeah, well, no kids here, and I'm the first one on my in my immediate block. Yeah, I'm gonna stay with my sister for a few days. Yeah, isn't it? It is really cool. I like it. No, according to the little history that came with the water tower, the little shanty shack, it isn't an outhouse. It's a house. It's a little building that they put the pump that pumps the water into the tower. It would be funny. I don't have an outhouse in my village yet. Oh, okay, Yvonne. I'm talking about my mom. You can talk about yours. No, I think the table I have for the train will be big enough because the train kind of goes the whole length of that table back there, and there's a lot of space in the middle, even for the new village elements that I have. Well, you got to I don't know if Velcro will work because you got to remember these little people are 3/4 of an inch tall, so I don't know. I've been thinking about it, and I think probably the hot glue gun is probably the best way to do it. Because, like I said, if I make a little dollop of the hot glue on like a piece of aluminum foil and then stick the people in it, then the part of the hot glue that's touching the foil will be flat, so it'll kind of create a flat platform, and it'll hold the people up. I don't know. We're going to experiment with it a little bit and see what happens. Yeah, I like doing that too, Yvonne, going around looking at decorated houses. Sometimes I'll get out and walk around though. You get a better, yeah, you've seen the videos I've done. I've done that a few times where I go out and you know look at houses. That's another advantage that kind of comes with the way I've changed my vlog schedule. One of the things you may have noticed is sometimes when I have an extra long vlog, I'll break it up into multiple parts. Just so because then I can get 3 videos out of it. But now, if I'm gonna just gonna do a vlog when I have something worth doing, you might get a 40-minute vlog, and that wouldn't be the end of the world, right? I'd like to do that too, Darth. At some point, I'm going to you know get into that a little bit more, and I want to learn how to do it so I can make it look good. Right now, it's going to start off really simple, but at some point, I could definitely see myself building little hills and trees and stuff like that. In fact, one of the things, or one of a couple things that I have on my Amazon wish list is like trees and little creatures and stuff like that. So, eh, I mean, I guess I would say that that most of my videos don't get a lot of views, but it's a good video. It's an average video if I get like 500 views. If I get over 1,000, that's a great video. And some of my videos just need time to grow. I did the Logan's Run video, and that didn't really take off until a year after I shot that. Darth keeps saying a deluxe telescope. You want to buy me a deluxe telescope, Darth? Not as much of a bump as I would have thought I got it. There was a little bit, and there were a few people that watched it, but you know, the that's still my number one and number two video ever. Yeah, that sounds about right. That's pretty typical for the first 24 hours, Darth. Is, 300, 350, something like that. I've thought of that too, John. If I do get a telescope, it is going to have the ability for me to hook a camera to it. Can you imagine doing a live stream and live streaming some of this stuff? That would be awesome. I know there's stuff out there that can do that too. Yes, I have absolutely thought of that. My mom's having kind of a tough time right now. Ever since she had her surgery a couple weeks ago, she's been having breathing problems. I think they think she had pneumonia, and she's been in the ER for a while and on oxygen. She's doing a little bit better now at this point, I think. And they were talking yesterday about moving her back into a normal room. I guess her oxygen levels, um, are coming back to normal, which is a good thing. Um, They also gave her a blood transfusion because I guess she was having problems with low hemoglobin levels. And so I guess that I haven't heard anything more about that. So I'm assuming she's doing better on that front. Well, a good telescope is going to be more than $200 too. I mean, that telescope there is a little more than a toy, and that was about a $200 telescope. I don't know if Darth and I have the same understanding of what a deluxe telescope is, but I'm figuring it's probably going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $2,000. And I mean, you can go up from there. There's the sky is the limit in terms of telescopes. Yeah, I've used the telescope I have, but it just it's decent for looking at Jupiter. It's decent for looking at Saturn. It's pretty good for looking at the moon, but you really can't. After you've looked at all that, there's not really a whole lot more that that you can see. Yeah, to start with, Gene. To start with. I mean, if I'm going to do a new telescope, it's going to be it's going to have to be a good one. I don't want to be just a tiny step up from the one I have. I mean, they got ones that are computer programmable now that you can say, I want to look at this, and it'll aim itself for you and all that. Definitely want to get one of those. Like I said, want to get one that I can do video on. Yeah, that's kind of my thought too, John. You got to get a good one because I want to have it for a long time. I've had this one for a long time. I've had that telescope for about 30 years. But it's just, like I said, it's just not powerful enough to see the things that I'd like to see. Yes, you can see Jupiter and about four of its moons. Yes, you can see Saturn and its rings. Yes, you can see Mars a little bit. Yes, it's pretty good for the moon, but that's about its limit. Well, yeah, Darth, I'd love to have a Hubble, but that's probably going to be a little out of my price range. Yeah, Susan said the same thing. But they got some pretty good ones that you can get that would be more in my price range. Well, that was sort of clickbait, Yvonne. I knew what they were talking about. You got to remember, it isn't losing its rings. It's just for about 10 or 15 years, they're going to be really hard to see from Earth. Because you got to remember, Saturn's rings are actually really, really thin. And so, it may be only like a kilometer thick. And eventually, the rings kind of do one of these things as they go around. And eventually, we're going to be looking at it straight on, and it's going to be very, very hard to see. Yeah, but they'll be back in 10 or 15 years once Saturn's orbit moves in such a point where the angle is more visible again. I mean, Saturn will eventually lose its rings. Every planet that has rings eventually loses them because eventually they get pulled back into the atmosphere. I mean, heck, Earth lost its ring. You didn't know that, did you? That Earth had a ring system once? Yeah, you got to remember all that, Yvonne, that all that stuff, all those, I see it even on legitimate news sites now. Everything's clickbait. Is there a specialist place nearby that has them? I assume you mean telescopes. No, I'd probably have to get something online. I heard something online that was supposedly a recording of a black hole, and that was kind of cool. Now, I guess I didn't hear that about Dr. Rose. Hello, Connie. Welcome to the live stream. We're still here. Nowhere near to done. I just finished my first glass of vodka. Meow, meow. Yeah, put it on the Facebook page, Yvonne. Well, I think a lot of times the rings that are around gas giants like Saturn are usually moons that actually get crushed. Although a lot of times they're like dust and debris and even ice in some cases. Let's see if I can find the sound of the black hole here, since we're talking about that here. Let's see. This is a YouTube video that claims to be Let's see if it is. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear that. Yeah, that was. I don't know. Did you hear that? In, through, and beyond. Yeah, I remember that. I love. I loved that movie as a kid, but I watched it recently and okay, yeah, okay. I don't need the commercials. That's the problem. You leave YouTube going here, and all of a sudden they start feeding you commercials. No, that wasn't Buzz Lightyear. That was a movie from the that was a line from the movie The Black Hole. It's funny. I knew a guy who worked on that movie, and he talked about how horrible that movie was, and how the sets were junk and all that. And it's like I said, it was one of my favorite movies when it came out when I was a kid. I even had a Black Hole movie poster in my room, but I watched it a couple years ago, and it's completely unwatchable. That's true. Sound can't travel through space, but what this is, first off, it isn't really a live sound. What they had to do is they had to speed it up, and it's like cosmic waves coming off of the uh, black hole. And like I said, they speed it up like 200 times to get that sound. No, to infinity and beyond, that is Buzz Lightyear, but you know, uh, the in, through, and the beyond, that was Maximilian Schell, who played the bad guy in the black hole. Well, like I said, when the movie came out, I was like 11 or 12, so it seemed like a great movie at the time. But I hadn't watched it in many, many, many years, many, many decades, and I watched it a couple years ago. And like I said, um, it's like, oh, this is horrible. Slim Pickens was in it too, and he just did the voice of one of the robots. In space, no one can hear you scream. That's Alien, isn't it? Thank you, Connie. I know my mom appreciates that. I got 2001, but it's really slowly paced, and it's a hard movie to get through. Actually, there was a sequel called 2010. I thought that was a more entertaining movie, and it kind of explained what was happening in the first one. I do have 2001, but I can't tell you the last time I watched it. Like I said, it's just paced really slowly. Which movie did you hate? Was that 2001? Was Roddy McDowell as Vincent? Okay. Yeah, I didn't remember what the robot's name was, but I remember it was the robot that was all torn up and old and beat up and stuff like that. I'm always going to remember Slim Pickens from Doctor Strangelove. I did meet the guy in the movie, Jeffrey Combs. In fact, let's see it. Let's see one of the pictures. The picture up there, the one at the top, that's a picture of me with Jeffrey Combs. Jeffrey Combs was doing a one-man show on Edgar Allan Poe, and he was playing Allan Poe, and doing like a lot of his stories. And we met him afterwards. And it was one of those things that Jordan invited me to, and he and his girlfriend at the time and I went and saw them. I saw Jeff and got a chance to meet him afterwards. It was really great. I got him to sign because see, that's my Reanimator laser disc right there, which is the same movie as this one. And I brought him that. He autographed that for me. He didn't really say anything about making the movie, but when he signed my laser disc up there, he personalized it to me and then says, "I gave him life," and I was like, "Oh, that's great." You killed him. No, I did not. I gave him life. Of course he's dead. The dosage was too high. Yeah, great. That Doctor Strangelove. If you've never seen that, it's a really great dark comedy with Peter Sellers and George C. Scott and Slim Pickens and a very very young Forrest Whitaker. I think it was Forrest Whitaker, wasn't it? Or was it no Sidney Poitier? Like Gene Wilder too. He's great in Blazing Saddles. I liked him a lot in the original Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. That's Frankenstein. Wasn't as into Young Frankenstein as yeah. I think it was uh, yeah, Peter Sellers, George C. Scott, and Slim Pickens, of course, and I think it was Sidney Poitier, not Forrest Whitaker. Forrest Whitaker was too young for that. What knockers? Can always count on um, what's the director's name to come up with you know cheap bathroom humor. Mel Brooks. Yeah, exactly. I don't know, I lock up on people's names every once in a while. And Bite is still with us, in case anybody was wondering. Yeah, I don't have high anxiety. Let's see, I got Young Frankenstein, I got Blazing Saddles, I got History of the World. What else do I have? Spaceballs. You get a chance to meet Mel Brooks? Yeah, I guess I've heard that he's a nice guy. No, I haven't seen Nibble on the live stream today. I don't know. Let's see if we can coax her out. At the very least, we coax your pets out, right? I do think I heard her jumping off the shelves back there, so maybe we'll get her to peer around the corner a little bit. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. Very least, we got Bite to get a little exercise. Wow. I don't know. Maybe Nibble's going to be a no-show today. You're so lazy, you let that one get away from you. Really freaks him out when you throw two of them at him. No, I think Nibble's going to be a no-show today. Oh well. Told you look like Anne Margaret. I told him he needs to have his eyes examined. I don't think I ever saw Life Stinks. But that was sort of the premise of the movie, The Black Hole, too, is that you could travel through a black hole. I guess there's a theory that says that for every black hole, there's a white hole. A black hole sucks everything in, a white hole blows everything out. Hello, La Caleros. Yeah, exactly. Racial tension in space. I know. Sometime they're gonna cancel the name black holes because of the negative uh, connotation that comes with it. I think there's something there, Lindex. I don't know how common my theory is, but they talk about the Big Bang, and I believe that the Big Bang was a black hole that exploded. Because basically what they're doing is they're saying a black hole is a, a super dense bunch of material that's been compressed to the point where gravity is so dense and so strong that nothing can escape it, not even light. And theoretically, if gravity is just the stretching of space time, isn't it possible maybe that if you stretch a rubber band too far, eventually it breaks? Well, is it possible you could stretch space time so much that it breaks? And if it breaks, what happens then? If you break space time, doesn't everything just? And could that be what the Big Bang is? And if that's what it is, doesn't that imply that maybe the universe is cyclic and that, it just goes through points of expansion and compression over and over and over again? And doesn't that also imply that maybe there's multiple Big Bangs? Maybe the matter doesn't expand to a certain point and then begin compressing again. Maybe it expands and it can coalesces into another black hole somewhere else, and then that explodes and just keeps recycling the matter over and over again. Okay, that's the biggest transition in the world. We're going from black holes to rice pudding. Rice pudding is okay. It's never I would never say it was one of my favorite things, but it's it, it has its place. Okay, Yvonne says she put it in the family chat. See if I can find that. Back out of where I was here. Okay, here it is. That's not it though. That's yeah, it's Martian wrap. That's exactly what it is. So yeah, that's supposedly what space sounds like. And I think a lot of times what they do is they have like detectors that detect some of the waves that travel in space, and that's what they do. Yeah, that's the Israeli flag on behind us there. And La Caleros likes the Israeli flag with raisins, huh? All right. I know what you're talking about. I just thought it was a funny transition. That's the scariest thought right now is that aliens are going to come to America at some point and say, take me to your leader. What kind of, how are they going to interpret that? ET on the internet. Yeah, exactly. I sometimes think I am an FM receiver in an AM universe. For the Burger King, yeah, exactly. Okay, we're losing Gene again. It's always about this time, so not surprising. Have a good church, Gene. Good talking to you. See you next week. Yeah, I even got my customized American flag. Pray for my mom, Gene. I've been to a few of the Ripley's, believe it or not. They're pretty cool. There's one in Hollywood that I went to with Jordan. There's one in, where was it, San Diego or something I went to with my dad, I think. You been to the San Francisco one? Yeah. I know there was one I went to with my dad. I think it was in San Diego. They're always pretty cool. What's the lettering on the flag? On that flag, it says FJB. Use your imagination. Yes, but it's not the G-rated version, Yvonne. I didn't like the Johnny Depp's version of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, although I like a lot of movies he's been in. He does really quirky characters. I really liked him in Edward Scissorhands. He was great in that. He was great in Ed Wood. You know, I got a handful of movies that he's in. I love What's Eating Gilbert Grape. That was the first time I ever saw Leonardo DiCaprio. I still think that's his best role ever. And of course, Johnny Depp was one of the first people murdered by Freddy Krueger in the first Nightmare on Elm Street movie. I'll always remember him there. Yeah, a lot of people never heard of What's Eating Gilbert Grape. Juliette Lewis was in there too. I always had kind of a crush on her. Yeah, he was great on 21 Jump Street too. I think that and the first Nightmare on Elm Street was when I first saw him. I think one of the things I like about Juliette Lewis is she picks really great roles. Kind of same thing I like about Johnny Depp is he'll do things, uh, they'll both do roles that are like out there and different. Didn't like Pirates. I was not a Pirates fan. I tried. It was too goofy for me. Yeah, I saw that video too where he showed his apartment and then mentioned that Juliette Lewis. I never knew that when he was living there. I learned that from that video. But Juliette Lewis has been in a whole bunch of things that I really liked. She was great in Natural Born Killers. I like her in Christmas Vacation. She was in California with Brad Pitt, really good in that. Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez movie called From Dusk Till Dawn. She was great in that. Yeah, I never saw Sleepy Hollow. What was that movie she was in? Um, Juliette Lewis was in with like Robert De Niro, where he was like it was a remake and he was like a creep that was stalking them and um, so I remember her in that too. Cape Fear. Thank you, John. I always know that I can mention a movie, and if I forget the title, somebody will know what it is. Yeah, the remake of Cape Fear. I remember it was a Cape. I knew it was something like that, and I just couldn't remember what the title was. But yeah, that's what it is. She was great in that. Oh, another one too. Benny and June. Yeah, that was a good movie too. That was Johnny Depp. And what was another one that she was in? I can't think of the name right now. Yeah, Juliette Lewis is also in a band too. I remember that too. Haven't seen Benny and June in a long time though. Never really watched soap operas a whole lot. That wasn't my scene. Yeah, I never really got into a whole lot of old movies. I mean, I got a few of them. There's movies that, we're out there a little bit for some one reason or another. I think the oldest movie I have in my collection is Freaks. Did anyone ever see that? One of us, one of us. Man in the Mask, Peter Lorre. I don't think I ever saw that one. Yeah, I like Freaks. Freaks is I have that in my collection. Yeah, Jordan sent me, well, he tagged me on a Facebook post a few days ago. I guess somebody was selling a 1980s era video game for them based on the movie RoboCop that had been autographed by uh, Peter Weller. And he said I should buy it, and I said I could do a vlog on it and then write off the cost of the video machine. Yeah, there's Bite, my buddy. I guess the machine was just up in Dallas somewhere. Could hook up the trailer, but I don't know. I don't know what I'd do with a video machine, video game machine like that. Watched a Peter Frampton concert on Thanksgiving. Okay, I don't remember what I watched on Thanksgiving. Man behind the mask. I remember that. I don't think I ever saw it, but I guess I do remember that that's what the title is. Hollywood moguls. I've been thinking I gotta pull out the A Team series and start watching that. A couple scenes from the A Team been popping up on my Facebook profile. It's like I really need to just get back to that. Yeah. Yvonne needs her caffeine, huh? Yeah, he's always watching me. Speaking of the heads of the movie studios, anybody ever see The Player? Robert Altman pick? That was a pretty good movie. A lot of cameos in that one. It was the first time I'd seen Tim Robbins. A lot of people remember him and from The Shawshank Redemption. But he plays a movie executive who is who's accused of murder, and well, he actually does murder a guy, and figures out a way to get around it and end up not going to jail for it by agreeing to do a movie based on the story. Yeah, Robert Altman. The thing that made that one so interesting is there were literally hundreds and hundreds of cameos of big stars that since it was all based on stuff that was going on in Hollywood, you know it's just like these people were playing themselves. So you had the producers of The Graduate pitching a movie called The Graduate too. It was exactly that's it exactly, John. In a lot of ways, it's very similar to like a TV series called Entourage, which was kind of the same thing. It was kind of an inside Hollywood thing, and a lot of cameos in that too. Never saw Mystic River. There were some movies I was into and others I wasn't. But I think that was when I first became a. I think The Player was when I first became a fan of Tim Robbins. And of course, I think my favorite Tim Robbins movie is the Hudsucker Proxy. Anybody ever see that Cohen Brothers movie? It's very funny. If you ever get a chance, check it out. That's one I can watch over and over again. It's there's some movies out there that you can watch over and over again, and pick up little details that you missed in the past. I'm not committing to doing two vlogs a week. I'm going to do a vlog when I have something. It's been two vlogs a week for the past couple of weeks. I do like the freedom I end up having because I don't have the pressure of producing a vlog when there's not really one that I think is going to be good. And I didn't really go into a lot of details, but what it might be, it's just going to be a vlog when I got something that I think is worth putting out. And one of the other changes, sometimes what I do with vlogs is if it's a longer vlog, I'll break it into multiple parts. I think about the Meow Wolf one. That was 70 minutes of content that I broke into 3 videos. But it might be, you know, videos like that might just be one video. Now you might get a 70-minute video. You might get 6 or 7 videos a week if there's something that's going on that's good. But it might be one every 2 weeks too. It's just going to be when there's something to come up. When I got something that I think is worth putting out. See, I didn't like the remake of True Grit versus the original. I thought the original was much better. I think the only other Coen Brothers movie I really liked was Barton Fink. I don't think I ever saw All About Eve. Well, and I think it's going to result in better videos too. Like I said last week, I thought I kind of felt like I was phoning it in sometimes. Going out and walking around the paths at Cameron Park. It's like, yeah, you know, yeah. John Wayne was much better than Jeff Bridges. I mean, I like Jeff Bridges, but original True Grit was much better of a movie, I think. No, I don't think I ever saw The Damned Don't Cry. It will sometimes come out here when I'm watching TV at night, and it's not uncommon for them both to spend the night out here on the couch. They stay in their room for the most part during the day, and I'll come out in the morning, and they'll both be sitting on the couch or sleeping. No, I don't think I ever saw Rio Bravo either. Wasn't really into westerns. I don't know how many vlogs I'll do in California this week. We'll see. I'm gonna bring my stuff with me, and we'll try and post something if anything comes up. But I don't know if I'm gonna really go anywhere or do anything. I think this one's gonna mostly be about visiting my mom. Tombstone was pretty good. Yeah, that was the squirrel in the house video. That video took 3 days to shoot between when I first discovered him in the house and got him out of the house. I've seen Gone with the Wind a couple times. Yeah, some people really thought it was funny when I referred to a Wile E. Coyote trap, and I do like it when I can make a video that makes people laugh. Yeah, there weren't really a whole lot of westerns that I was into. Wasn't really a genre that I was that much interested in. See, I always like Clint Eastwood more as Dirty Harry. Yeah, I think I did. I think I have seen The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Yeah, I got the Dirty Harry collection box set with all the movies in it. I haven't watched a Dirty Harry movie in a while. No, not yet. In fact, I'm going to probably maybe making a big decision about the pool because um, I'm going to decide, it may be time to decommission the thing altogether. Decided a few days ago that, if I'm going to decommission it or going to have the walls removed and replaced, either way, I got to drain it. So I started draining it late last week and, got most of the water out of it now. And that's going to be my winterizing of the pool um, this year because then if I get leaves and junk like that in it, I can just sweep them out. I don't know. I have not really thought that much about a hot tub. One of the things I like about the pool is being able to, swim underwater. You can't do that in a hot tub. Thank you, Darth. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be an interesting kind of sad trip because my mom isn't doing well, and we're going to have to just see how things go. But thanks, Wendy. I know my mom will appreciate the prayers. I'll be here next week for a live stream because I don't actually leave until a week from tomorrow. We don't need no stinking budgets. Yeah, that's one of those movies. That's one of those lines that's almost turned into vernacular. Most people don't even know where it comes from. Well, I mean, I enjoy having the pool, but you're right. It is a big hassle. I've replaced just about every part of it now. It's funny. I get kind of almost a sense of dread when I go into California now. I'm just so at peace here in Texas. It's like being on another planet. How does a security guard deal with that line? Okay, you got to giggle out of it. Okay, sometimes security guards have heard that line so much that it's not even funny anymore. I don't know. I can't really. I kind of judge California as a whole, and just considering the fact, I've spent most of my life in Southern California, but I didn't really see any difference between the people in Northern California and Southern California. But I noticed the difference between the people in California and the people in Texas, and that was a big thing. I mean, that was one of the first things I noticed. I think I even made a video about that early on, where I said, "Oh yeah, the people in Texas are just so much nicer." Oh yeah, I'm not saying that everybody in California is a jerk, but they're just there's way more of them in California. I'm flying this time. Yeah, I'll get there in a day, get home in a day. Gonna spend about 5 days there, I think. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, I guess Ron had to work today. It happens. Sometimes she stops in on during break, but not today. It must be a busy day. Hope people aren't throwing things at her. I guess that's been an issue before. Rhonda sure makes my job easier. One of these days, I'm just going to start a live stream and let Rhonda moderate it. I'll go do something else. I think she's had some bad times at the place she's at. No, no, I won't be anywhere near SeaWorld. I'll be about as far from SeaWorld as you can get. SeaWorld's down in San Diego. I'm going to be up near Sacramento. SeaWorld would be a fun vlog. Yeah, I agree. It can be hard to work in a hostile environment. I know all about that. That's sort of what Disney was. That's why I'm so grateful for the job I have now. It's just nice to be appreciated. Yeah, I hope to get some moment to take a little bit more time off next year. This year has just been such a weird year. It started out with me being material handler and then lead, and it wasn't a good time to take time off. Yeah, I think I've been to old Sacramento before. I'm going to bring my camera and my laptop with me to California. I don't know if I'll do anything. We'll see. It'll just depend on what the time looks like. Yeah, I think there is some train stuff there. Yeah, like I said, I'm going to bring the camera and the laptop and everything I need to do videos there. And, if the opportunity presents itself, we'll do something. Anyway, I think I put in my 2 hours. So I'm going to pull the plug on this one. Had a good time today. This one went really fast. So we'll catch up again next week. I'll definitely do another one next week before I go, and we'll figure out what happens from there. So I think we're done for tonight. Thanks as always for watching. I'll see you next time. Good night.